All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, let's get into it today. So pre-CPI day here, market's kind of floating higher a little bit and kind of continuing the theme from yesterday. One of the things I talked about over the last couple of weeks is I said, if there's going to be upside in this market, kind of needs to come from other places other than the NASDAQ 100 or the Magnificent Seven. By the way, again, we talked about rebalancing yesterday, and some other people picked up on this as well, and I kind of was talking about this last night, not here, but it's kind of funny, right? They had no problem with the rebound, with the markets being heavily weighted, Nvidia and Tesla down here, but now up here all of a sudden it's an issue. You think maybe they kind of realized these valuations are completely unsustainable on some of these. Apple and Microsoft, Tesla, Nvidia. By the way, Microsoft, that head and shoulder has triggered technically, but either way, and that could take you down to 310, but it's just a daily pattern. But anyway, yeah, and now they want to rebalance it and make, we got to make it even now. It's like, well, okay. Because the thing is, when you have a 300% move, 110, to 420, you don't have a 5% correction. You have a 25, 30, 50% correction, right? A 382 is still a bullish retrace, right? And that would take you to 313 on Nvidia. That's a huge drop. That's a 25% drop. And to fill the gap, 300, 290. That's it's a 30% drop. But that would be in relative terms, that would make sense, right? Like seems like a lot, but you didn't go up 20%. You went up 300, right? So it seems to me like they're like, oh well, we know that this is going to kind of come to a head here. Let's try to cook the books a little bit. Either way, we are seeing it come a little bit from other areas. QQQE having a decent day. The shitcos, ARK, Roku, PayPal, Affirm, Pinterest, Ubo. You guys remember these names? I traded them all last year during that little June low. Carvana. These are all running. Riot still running here. Mara. Okay, like all the junk growth stocks. Even Peloton's up 9%, right? So we're seeing kind of a little bit of a dash for trash. Maybe call it rotation. I don't know about that. Maybe just some squeezing. I don't know, hedging ahead of CPI, but we are seeing some of that money kind of rotate out of big tech. XLE green, nicely green today, up 2.25. We'll talk about that in a minute. XLF also up 1% on the day. KRE up 1.3. Russell 2000 up 1%. So continuing with that theme there. I thought that money had to come out of big tech anyway, but now it's just kind of getting an excuse here. But either way, CPI tomorrow, they're expecting 3.1, which is, I think, a whole percent drop. Last month was 4.1. So they're expecting a whole percentage point drop, a 25% drop, essentially. I don't know. Core's been flat for over a year. And, basically that takes you within 1% of the Fed's target. So, if that happens, maybe we get a big rally. The caveat here is that June of last year is when inflation peaked. So it's going to be a lot harder for those numbers to beat moving forward. At what point does the market also look at inflation coming down and say, hey, this is coming down too fast? What's going on here? Well, we got to watch the yield curves as always. So if we take a look at the 2-year, if these spreads start to come back, then that could be a sign here. If the 2-year peaks and sharply comes in, that could be a sign. Also, again, if the 2-year breaks 5.08, that could be, in the opposite direction. Maybe we get a hot number. If it comes to like 3.5 or something like that, that could send a huge signal that the Fed's not done. And the market will tell the Fed that, because if we get above 5.08, we'll see volatility. That much I'm sure. And another thing too, this yields, there ain't nothing wrong with this chart here. So yields are still holding up, but regardless of the number, watch this tomorrow. If this doesn't get back above 5.08 for whatever reason, market will likely be able to rally. It's really that simple. So again, we'll watch it moving forward. Spiders here, levels. I mean, obviously you kind of have this 444 area. If you get through that, it's to 450. Nothing's changed on that front. If we do head lower, you gotta first, you first gotta break this 20 moving average, and then once you get through that, you can get through 431. That will take you down. I'm gonna use this SPX here, take you down to this trend line in the 50 MA. So those are your levels to watch there on the market for tomorrow. Really simple there. Over to the Qs, same thing. You gotta break through that 20 moving average. If you can get through that, there's your trend line upsloping, and then a bigger one upsloping there as well. 50-week moving, 20-week moving average right in that vicinity. So those are your target levels. Onto the Russell again, 192, 193. Nothing's changed. Dow still in a range here. 345 still resistance. If you take out this pivot, it's 331.45. Nothing's changed. SMH here, fractionally higher. Still have valid head and shoulders. It hasn't triggered. Tried to trigger the other day, closed back above it. So not triggered. It's not failed yet either. If you take this shoulder out or this pivot here, it probably has failed. But it can still trigger with a close below, but nothing's really too shabby there for SMH. IGV having a big day. Talked about Roku earlier, up 11.5%. That had a huge pop. Oracle Green still holding on to that level there. If that breaks, though, I think that does want to go fill that gap, but either way, it's hanging on for now. Adobe, CRM had a big day. That was up 3.7%, so having a nice move. IGV holding up. Again, I still think there's a lot of weekly resistance here at 355, 357. It's looking like it's curling back up here. I just think, look at all this. A lot of weeks there of resistance, and then even if you get through that, you got that big sell bar with a lot of volume. So I think it has to do more, but it's holding up for now, so we'll respect it. Basically set to close at the highs of the day. Now transport's nice move, so we knew this would be resistance. I thought it would have to do more consolidating to get through that, but it's held up really well. Again, airlines reporting starting this week. Delta, I believe United, so they will be kicking off, I think, Thursday, Friday. But either way, transport's holding up nicely. And we finally got through this level. So that is now above that, and we're basically just testing this little double top pivot. We'll see if that can confirm above tomorrow, but nice move there for DJT. And again, another sector that's kind of been a laggard, hasn't participated, and now it's really taking off to the upside. All right, we already mentioned yields here, but let's look at the 10-year. So that's pulling back, obviously support here, 20 moving average. If you hold this trend line, this can put in a higher low and attack 4.2. 30-year, again, basically back testing 4%. We have a slight higher high here, but never closed above that pivot. So, this can still retrace back below 4%. And there's still plenty of room for a higher low. Again, you still have an ascending triangle that we tried to break out of. Nothing to say 4 can't hold in the near term. If it does, 4.2 is your next big level there on the TYX. XHB, new highs there. So that is through that little pivot there, breakdown, and it's getting a bit still pretty overbought and stretched, if you ask me. But again, trend is up, it's holding up, so we'll respect it. Right now, same thing with ITB, that's holding up, although no new highs there for the ITB yet. And then VNQ finally getting above our 84 level. So that was up 1.4% on the day. Another higher high. This looks like it wants to confirm here. You still need to get a secondary close here. But it does look like 86 at the very least, and then probably 87. So that's where I'm going to give it the upside bias to for now, if it can confirm above this area. You are into that 50-week moving average you saw right there. It is minor, though. You're parallel to it, so not a really big deal. But, we'll watch and see what it does moving forward. Again, CPI could change everything tomorrow. XLF holding up well, again, up 1.3. So maybe that wants to go up to this upper trend line here. Certainly looks like it. Some resistance around 34.55 too. Weekly, still, there's still, you could make a case that this is just weekly consolidation inside of that big red monthly bearish inside bar. Still below that 20 MA. So watch that over the next couple of weeks there on the XLF. KRE getting a nice bid here. That's holding up okay. That still has resistance at 44 though. ABE's got resistance just below 38, so nothing's changed. And the broker dealer's having a big move. So we said this 480 gets above that. Guess where you're going? 490. So that's your next level there for the XBD. On to crude here. So that's having a nice day as well, up 2.6. Next level is this upsloping trend line. So again, right there, there you are. So 76, right in that zone. You know, if it overshoots, maybe wants to test that 200 moving average again, right around 77.40. But crude's still in a choppy range. Nothing has changed there. However, energy stocks starting to move here. XLE up 2.25. Not broken out yet. The big level here. I know this level here is important, 82.72, but this is really the level, 85.08 on a weekly close. We got to get above that to negate this red bar. If you do that, XLE is going higher. So pretty simple there. XOP continuing to push out. So that's confirming this trend line breakout here. 1, 2, 3, nice surge. You know, might stall out here at 135. I think I told you 135 yesterday. 200 MA, that's where you broke down right there and reversed. So that's going to be your resistance, but nice move there for XOP. I don't see any issues. And OIH up another 3.5%. This should have to consolidate. But this is what happens when you get a failed pattern, right? So if you got an inside bar there, a red bar, and when it fails, it can result in a big move. That's why I'm saying the same thing about XLE. If you get a close above 85.08 on a weekly close, it's gonna give it juice. But there should be resistance right here on OIH. So we'll look for this to cool off, but I'll watch for pattern on this. This looks pretty good. Nat gas having a nice day as well. That's holding trend here. 20 moving average. See that moving average is starting to separate. And that's been curling back up for a while now, so don't really see any issues there. Dollar index, that is weakening. So I said 102.75. It's basically through that right now, 101.70. Excuse me, 101.75 I said yesterday. And it's at 101.70 right now. There should be some support here. I don't know how long it's going to last. You did have a bearish inside bar on the weekly, so this can push lower. Again, I don't really have a bias on the dollar right now. I would say neutral to bearish until proven otherwise. If you get a Pierce of 100, that might get me interested. But right now, I'm staying away from it. I don't really see anything really worthwhile on that chart there. All right, over to gold here. So gold getting a little bit of a pop. Again, the weak dollar not really helping out gold a lot. So it's just still kind of on the softer side here. Still not above that 20 moving average and still finding resistance around 1940. You know, again, it's not good, not great. If it was strong, you should have gotten a good bid off 1900, I think. We haven't really done that. I still think it needs to go down to 1850. So again, nothing's really changed there. It's holding up though. Silver, again, still struggling with 2350. That could still go to 24. I still think that has to go to 21. Platinum stalling at the 20 moving average. That still looks like it wants one more move lower. And palladium still soft. That looks like it wants one more move lower as well. Copper stalling, that's still going to 340. All right, Bitcoin here is really just stuck in a range again. So even despite some of the Bitcoin equities, Bitcoin miners running, Bitcoin's still stuck. I'm still going to give this the upside bias into that 32.5 to 32, 33 area. So right here. Again, nothing's changed. It's hanging in there. Ether can still get to 2010, 2020. I don't know if this is just FOMO with some of those Bitcoin stocks or if it's just kind of short covering. Could be one or the other, could be both. But Bitcoin's still stuck in a range. Now, I'd still give it the upside bias here. You're above the moving averages. Trend is up. Looks fine. But interesting to see it not really taking off here. So it's not participating with any of the rally in equities. So anyways, again, spiders here coming back in. Look at that. They tried to give it a big pump here. We got 5 minutes left. Well, it looks like they really targeted. I'm looking at my other screen here, sorry. Yeah, they targeted, the bulls tried to hit that 4440 level on the SPX. So it looks like a ton of calls just hit the tape there right towards the end of the day. But either way, we'll see what we get here into tomorrow. I don't know, maybe they're trying to front run CPI here, who knows. But either way, we'll be watching that going into tomorrow. Again, watch the 2-year yield. That breaks 5.08. Could be an issue. Watch the yield curves as they start to normalize. That could also be something the market may look at as well. So anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Talk to you guys all tomorrow.